Now we're back from break, and like we said earlier in the show, we promised you guys an outstanding, amazing guest. He's currently in the show with us right now. 14 seasons as the head coach of the best organization in the National Football League, the Pittsburgh Steelers, a Super Bowl champion, never finished below 500 in any coaching season. That's consistency at its finest. Currently, his team is 4-0. The Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin is joining us here on All Things Covered. Coach T, man, we appreciate you joining us. How's everything going?
Man, I'm blessed every day. BMac, man, it is just great to be on with you, man. One of the great pleasures of having this job as long as I've had it, man, is to work with dudes like you, man, and see them succeed not only in football but in life. And so it's just really cool to be with you, man, and to see you excelling in your next space, man.
I appreciate it, Coach. You know, you used to tell us all the time the standard is the standard, right?
And it does not change.
No question, man. The standard is the standard, man. Pat P, man, Coach T used to give us some Tomlinisms. We'll get into that a little later, but man, Coach T, man, he know how to get you fired up at any given time. Right now, you got your guys fired up, Coach T. Y'all 4-0. A great start out. I think the Steelers haven't been 4-0 since 1979. And that said year, I think they won the Super Bowl. So hopefully that trend will continue. But talk about what's the biggest reason for the 4-0 start this year?
You know, there's a selflessness about this group, and I think that helps you in those sticky circumstances. You know, we've got some dominant players, and we got units that are capable of dominating the games. But the significant thing is they support one another when the chips are down, and I think that's starting to reveal itself. You know, we weren't able to get off last week on third down defensively, but the offense was able to maintain possession of the ball, and so we were able to get out of the stadium with the win. And I think you got to have a well-balanced team across all three phases to walk the journey, and we appear that we have enough strength in all three phases to do that, and there's an unselfishness in the group that doesn't allow them to get down in the face of adversity. Man, they've been really good in supporting one another.
Talking about adversity, I mean, your star quarterback faced a lot of adversity last year, missing basically the entire season. But now he's back in that uniform. He's looking comfortable. 3 touchdowns this past Sunday. He now has a total of 10 touchdowns and 1 interception on the year. He's 38, Coach, but he's looking like he can still go. How much longer do you think Big Ben will play?
I don't know, man, but I know I'm a better coach in 20 than I was in 19 with him on the grass. You know, I'm appreciating having him back, man. You know, I'm a small picture guy. You know, we're not looking past this journey that we're on. Man, he's got great health and physical condition. He's knocking the rust off, man, with each appearance. And so, man, he's finding his stride, man, and so are we.
And Coach, man, I must say I admire you from afar for many, many years since BMac, been playing with you guys since I've been in high school, and obviously watching your career grow as my career grew in the NFL. But with you being a defensive-minded coach and coming from the Minnesota defensive staff back in the day, what is the best defense you coached?
Wow, man, you know, it's been different. And what I mean is, and that's the cool thing about being in this league for 20 years now. I have the perspective of that. I think defenses dominate in different ways, man. Mm-hmm. Some of the early defenses that I had here in Pittsburgh, like the 2008 Super Bowl champion defense that BMac was a part of, man, that was a kick-ass defense, meaning that, you know, we were going to win the line of scrimmage and beat you up and win by attrition that way. Some of the defenses that I happen to be a secondary coach for, down in Tampa, and we won a world championship, man. We were athletes, man. We created turnovers. We got after the passer. We didn't necessarily beat you up physically, but we won. We won by making splash plays. And so it's really tough to distinguish which one is more effective, because we had great players, Hall of Fame players, who were built differently, and we constructed the defenses to fit their skill set. You know, we had Derek Brooks down in Tampa, man, and that guy was a gazelle. He looked like the animal that he hunted. He was like the feature running backs, man. He'd come out of games with the ball in his hand just about every week. And in Pittsburgh, man, we had dominant outside linebackers, man, like James Harrison and Lamar Woodley, that absolutely beat you up. And so the means that they go about dominating games was so different. It's tough to distinguish, but I've learned to have an appreciation for both. One thing I do know, you know when you with one. You know when
yeah.
you're with you know when you're with a dominant group. You know
no
when
doubt
you're with a
about it.
defensive group that's got the goods. You know,
Mhm.
and I think that's what's exciting about the group that we're working with right now. Is really early in the journey, but they're showing signs of the type of group that could be the type of group that's got the goods.
Well, with you having 20 plus years experience in this league, I know this might be tough now. Give me your top 3 best defensive players.
Players.
Yeah.
Wow.
That you coach, either as a
Yeah, as
head
as
coach
a head coach or an
or an
assistant.
assistant.
Hey, Troy and Brooks. Troy and Brooks. And then I might, and then it gets tough, man. I might have to go with Warren Sapp, man, 99.
Yeah.
Oh.
But you talking Troy and Brooks, you talking about first ballot Hall of Famers, you talking
Right.
Warren Sapp, you talking about a second ballot Hall of Famer.
Right.
So, it's tough to argue against some of those guys, man. Just the routine freakish things that I saw from those guys the years that I worked with them really make them a cut above. And that's the reason why they wear the gold jackets and the manner in which they wear the gold jackets in terms of early enshrinement.
So, Coach, Troy will be 1, Derek Brooks 2, and Warren Sapp 3. That's the ranking?
I didn't say that.
Oh, you did? Okay. I was just trying to put you on the spot a little bit. I was trying to see if you paying attention.
Hey, I'll take the one you don't take. How about that, BMac?
I like that. Hey, Coach, I definitely like that. I was trying to put you on the spot, see when you get a ranking, but I like what you're doing. That's fair. That's fair. Well, now, with defensive players, you've been around some of the iconic defensive players you've been around. You've been around a lot of offensive guys, too. But one position the Steelers have been known to really hit on year in and year out has been wide receivers. I think the last wide receiver to be selected by the Pittsburgh Steelers was Santonio, and I think it was in 2006, if I'm not mistaken. But outside of that, you guys have been able to hit on wide receivers in the late round, and they cash in big time. Talk about what has been the main ingredient for the success at wide receivers when you look at drafting guys like Mike Wallace, Antonio Brown, Emmanuel Sanders, Deontay Johnson, Martavius Bryant, Juju Smith-Schuster, and now you got a new toy in Clay Chaput, man. What has been the main ingredient in being able to hit on these guys?
I think the most significant thing first is there's so many of them out there. There's so much spread football in college, man. If you just open your mind up to evaluating all the types of guys that are available, you got the slots from the spread offenses. You got the X's that work backside of trips in some of the 3-by-1 offenses. You got the outside winners, the outside man-to-man route winners, and things of that nature. We've always taken an approach that we don't make judgments based on the type of offenses that they're in. We just look at their skills. And so first and foremost, we're interested in football players first, man. Guys that show a certain toughness that goes above and beyond the position, or a certain competitive spirit that goes above and beyond the position. Case in point, you were teammates of a number of those guys, man. Very rarely will you find a speed guy that's a deep threat that's as physically tough as Mike Wallace.
Yeah.
He was a speed guy that was no punk, that was a tough guy, that didn't back down from physical confrontations. He was 200 pounds, etc. Emmanuel Sanders and AB were 180 pounders who were uniquely tough and competitive for 180 pounders. They were wiry, strong. They didn't turn down competition. And I think that's the things that are most important to us, that they're football players first, and that has to be revealed to us in a certain way. And we don't care by what way it reveals itself. We fell in love with Claypool by the way he sunk his teeth into the special teams combat down in Mobile at the Senior Bowl. This guy was special teams MVP, I think, at Notre Dame his second year in school there. So he showed football awareness and things that were outside the wide receiver position. And for us, we believe that that's a good indicator that you got a football player, and then they're going to do the things that the wide receiver position requires. To me, Hines Ward is a nice blueprint for that, right? That dude was a wide receiver, but he was so much more.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a standard bearer for us. We're looking for football players who happen to play wide receiver. And Hines is just a good blueprint for that, man. A guy that I just appreciated on that level and really have modeled the evaluation and selection of others just based on that principle alone.
Well, Coach T, man, I shared many Tomlinisms on air. You know, you come up with a lot of Tomlinisms. I don't know if that's a thing now, but we need to get some T-shirts made, Tomlinisms. So I said some of your Tomlinisms on air before, such as it's a prime time matchup because we're in it, right? Well, I'm sorry, it's a 5-star matchup because we're in it. I remember that was our 08 season. The standard is the standard. And yesterday, after Sunday's ball game, you said the strength of the pack is the pack. Where do you come up with these, and do you have a favorite?
Man, you know, I'm always trying to find ways to deliver a message and in a way that's maybe catchy or captures your attention and things that I can remember so that I can repeat over time. I think part of being a good communicator is acknowledging that people are kind of poor listeners. So you better do some things to stimulate them, and you better be willing to repeat it. And so, you know, like you speak to, it's a 5-star matchup because we're in it. Because I wanted you guys to know, man, don't get caught up in the elevator music, man. Every time we step in the stadium, it's a potential for a 5-star matchup. The nameless great faces that we play are relevant if we're on our game. And so I wanted you guys to focus in on our prep and our play. And I knew that we were going to be in some big battles in an effort to get where we needed to be. So that was just a means of taking your attention off of whoever it is that we happen to be playing. And really get the group to focus on the Wednesdays that I would say that, because I would always say it on the Wednesdays.
Yep.
And it would get the week started. And it was a way of getting the trajectory of the week started in terms of us focusing on our work. And really it's the same for all of them for me. I love the standard is the standard. That's probably my favorite because, you know, we're not in an excuse-making business. And if we're not careful, man, we'll spend a bunch of time making excuses, talking about who's available to us and who's not, the lack of fluidity in schedules, maybe because of pandemic circumstances, et cetera, et cetera. The bottom line is, man, we all got challenges, meaning all 32 of us. And so, man, you just proceed with that understanding and you don't waste a whole lot of time talking about your misery. You just find ways to overcome it because that guy on the other side has got the same issues. We like to pretend like they don't, but they do. And so, man, we don't want to make excuses. There's a standard of expectation in Pittsburgh, and that standard is winning. And if you wear the black and gold, man, and you run out of that tunnel, man, you assume those responsibilities.
Well, Coach, speaking about those other 32 teams, we know you had an opportunity at the Dolphin job. Can you tell us a little bit how life would be different if you would have took the Dolphin job over the Steelers?
Hey, man, I don't know, man. I don't plan on failure, so I don't know that the journey would be that different. You know,
I like it.
I tell you what, my kids would probably live a different lifestyle in South Florida, man. I had 2 boys, man, that are college football players that probably would have loved to grow up in South Florida, running with 2 dogs down there and playing sports. You know,
yes, I tell you what, I can complain.
They got much respect for that South Florida athletics and the way it gets done down there, man. Just my personal life, you know, the lifestyle, more than anything, man. I worked in Tampa for 5 or 6 years, man. I do pool parties and stuff during the holiday season and things of that nature. So it's a different quality of life. In terms of the job, I refuse to acknowledge that I can see it any way different, any differently. I punch the clock and I keep my head down and hard working, and I think that's the secret of longevity and getting what you're hunting. And so, you know, from a football standpoint, I don't know that it would be different.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
well, I can tell you this much: the Dolphin fans clearly feel it. They feel like at that time they should have went your direction instead of. I think Cameron was the guy they decided to hire over you. But you know, Pittsburgh, we're not complaining. We did some big things, and you're still doing some big things. But now with the Miami Dolphins, Brian Flores is the head coach. He's a minority, right? And you look at the lack of minority coaches in the National Football League. Why are there so few black minority head coaches in the NFL?
And the bottom line, we could spend a lot of time, you know, talking about the reasons why, you know, the identification of worthy candidates, the pathway through to elevation and all of those things. And all of those things are legitimate arguments, but those arguments have been ongoing and those procedures are underway. and have been underway. The bottom line is those that are in position to hire, man, aren't hiring them at the rate that we're all comfortable with. And that's the reality of it. I don't know that anybody stands opposed to minority hiring, but when jobs are available, minorities are not getting hired. And so, that's what we have to address. It doesn't appear to be attitudes. It doesn't appear to be, pathways and symposiums and development and things of that nature. Man, I've been involved in those type things formally and informally for 20 years since I've been in the league, whether it was myself and getting an opportunity to participate in it or being someone that mentors and helps out and aids in the development of others. Those things have been ongoing. The bottom line is, man, we got to do a better job of actually pulling the trigger and hiring, and that falls on those that hire.
Well, in the offseason, the league consider incentivizing minority hires with draft pick compensations. What made that the incorrect solution?
It's somewhat insulting on some levels, man. And I think a lot of people, particularly some veteran guys that I admire, like Tony Dungy and Marvin Lewis, expressed that, and I agree with them. But at the same time, man, the rate of hiring is an embarrassment as well. And so for me, I'm open to any and all conversations. I don't necessarily know that is the solution, but I didn't stand strongly against it because I am just interested in any dialogue that will generate an improvement in the hiring. And so I'm all ears, particularly I'm all ears as it pertains to the words and thoughts and feelings of those that hire, the ownership and their perspective on the matter. Because the bottom line is, man, we got to do better than what we're doing right now in 2020.
Do you feel, Coach, that minority coaches, they have more pressure in front of them when it comes to being a head coach for a national football organization compared to other coaches?
I definitely believe that there's some challenges that we as minorities face that our peers do not. But, that's life, man. I'm sure that, C-level executives across all walks of life from a minority standpoint share similar experiences and adaptations and so forth. I don't spend a lot of time, talking about the labor pains, man. I just try to deliver the baby. And I try to do it in such a way that it makes it easier for the next doctor, no matter who he or she may be. You know what I mean?
Coach T, we might have to add that one to your Tomlinisms, right?
I like that.
I don't care too much about the labor pain. I just want to deliver the baby. I like that one,
Yes,
Coach. I might have to steal that
one. Yeah,
I just want to give you a little something tonight, B.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Coach, we know you got a hectic schedule. This is my last one for you. What is your message during this time with the election approaching?
One of the things that I've really been interested in, man, is opinions. Everybody has them and so forth, and positions, political. It's cool to watch younger people be engaged and have a political opinion. But opinions are one thing, man. Actions another.
Right.
And so, I've really been impressed by the actions of individuals and collectives in the midst of the current political climate. Not only just in terms of voting, man, but encouraging others to be active participants in gathering information and engaging in the political process. I think it's cool, man. I think that your generation, to be quite frank, is more engaged in that than mine. And so as a guy that's looking at it with 48-year-old eyes and has sons that are 18 and 19, man, I'm proud of that generation and what they're doing and the manner in which they're going about doing it. Their utilization of technology as a platform of empowerment, social media, and having the ability to express themselves, man, are things that we didn't have. And so you see it really just moving in a lot of positive ways. Think about BMac, think about the voice that the college football player has today that you and I didn't have because of what social media and having an opportunity to represent themselves and their thoughts and feelings provides them. Now, there's responsibility that comes with that, and they can't be reckless, but what an awesome opportunity. And the way that it's being utilized right now, man, is an encouragement to me and exciting to me. And it's cool to fall in line and follow behind some young dynamic leaders, man, that our society has to offer, particularly in the athletic world.
Well, speaking of leaders, Coach, you're a great leader, a great man, and you continue to keep chopping wood, man. And we appreciate you joining us here on All Things
Yes,
Covered,
sir.
man. Me and Pat P, man, Pat know about you, and you've been knowing about Pat since his high school days. So we all feel like we're family right now. But we know you're a
No
busy
doubt.
man. Hey, we know you're a busy man. Keep chopping
Yes,
wood. You got a
sir.
big ball game coming up this weekend, man. And you know what, Coach? I'm pretty sure when the folks in Pittsburgh, see this or hear this, they're going to get some shirts made, Tomlinisms, man. So go ahead and let's
Tomlinisms.
print the T-shirts.
Man,
like
I respect and appreciate you guys, man. It's cool to see that you guys are still tight and still holding it down, man, as
Yes,
life
sir.
progresses, man. All the best to you, Pat P, as
Appreciate
you
it,
continue to do
Coach.
what it is that you do. And BMac, you know where I am. You can always holler at me, man. Steeler for life.
I appreciate the standard is a standard.
You know it,
Yes,
brother.
sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, Coach.